Breaking, Venezuelan forces fire on a United States carrier group in the Caribbean.
03:42 a.m. International waters in the northern Caribbean. 400 feet below the surface, a Venezuelan diesel submarine holds completely still. Engines off, speed 0. The air inside is heavy after nearly 20 hours underwater. 38 sailors wait in silence as sonar data scrolls across a dim screen. Then a sound cuts through the background noise. Multiple propellers, heavy displacement, steady speed. Above them, the USS George Washington moves through open water at a constant pace. Escorted but calm. From the surface, nothing looks unusual. No alarms, no sudden maneuvers. Below, the submarine commander studies his range numbers. The distance is closing. The angle is clean. This is not a coincidence. This is a deliberate approach toward the most protected warship on Earth. Instead of turning away, the submarine stays on course. On American sensors, threat indicators tighten. Contacts stabilize. The picture becomes clear. This is no routine shadowing. This is a hostile setup unfolding in real time. Inside the carrier group, systems quietly shift posture. No one raises their voice. No one needs to. At this range, every second matters. What the submarine does not realize is simple. It is not stalking a single ship. It has already entered a network that has been watching for hours. If you want to follow what happens next, stay with us. The situation is about to escalate fast. What happened under the water was not random, and it was not local. This stretch of the Caribbean is one of the most watched pieces of ocean in the region. Commercial shipping lanes run nearby. Patrol aircraft pass through daily. Sensors from multiple nations overlap here day and night. Any serious military move in this area is meant to be seen, even if it starts in silence. For Venezuela, sending a submarine into this zone was a calculated risk. It was close enough to signal defiance, but still outside territorial waters. A way to test how far pressure could be applied without crossing a clear legal line. This was not about sinking a ship. It was about probing limits. For the United States, the stakes were different. A carrier group is not just a ship at sea. It represents national presence, credibility, and deterrence. Any threat beneath its hull is treated as real, immediate, and unacceptable. Hours earlier, a Boeing P-8 Poseidon was already moving through the same airspace, quietly listening. It did not rush, it did not react. It simply collected patterns. When the submarine slowed, its diesel signature stood out. When it adjusted depth, the change was noticed. This is how modern tracking works. Not dramatic, just patient. Inside the Venezuelan submarine, none of this was visible. The crew believed depth and silence still offered protection. They believed Cold War tactics still created uncertainty. But the ocean had changed. This confrontation was never equal. One side relied on hiding. The other relied on seeing everything. Before we continue, tell us what you think. If you believe Venezuela crossed a line by challenging a carrier group, press 1" the comments. If you think the United States response was inevitable the moment the submarine moved in, press 9. And subscribe, because the first shots are about to be fired. 03:48 a.m. The first warning does not come from radar. It comes from sound. On a United States destroyer escorting the carrier group, a sonar operator leans closer to the screen. A sharp spike cuts through the steady ocean noise. It is brief, violent, and unmistakable. Compressed air. That single sound means only one thing. A torpedo has just left its tube. The contact symbol flashes, then turns solid. The system confirms what the operator already knows. This is not a drill. This is not a test signal. A live weapon is in the water. Inside the Combat Information Center, no one raises their voice. Training takes over. A watch officer gives a short command, calm and flat. The ship responds instantly. From the stern, a Nixie decoy slips into the sea. It trails behind the destroyer, broadcasting a louder, more attractive noise than the ship itself. To a torpedo seeker, it sounds like the real target. Below the surface, the Venezuelan weapon reacts. Its guidance system detects 2 returns, one quiet, one loud. It turns toward the sound it was built to chase. At almost the same moment, the American response begins. Two Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes enter the water, clean and controlled. Their seekers activate within seconds, scanning for the submarine's hull. Above them, a patrol aircraft tightens the picture. Additional sonar buoys hit the surface, closing gaps and sharpening the track. Inside the submarine, the atmosphere shifts. The sonar operator hears it first. A rising tone, high-pitched, growing louder. This sound is different. This sound is hunting them. The captain orders emergency speed. The electric motor surges. 21 knots. Maximum output. But speed does not erase distance. And it does not erase math. The American torpedoes are closing at nearly twice that speed. As seconds pass, the range numbers shrink faster than expected. The submarine's last maneuver barely changes the outcome. On American screens, prediction markers stop adjusting. The firing solution is locked. There will be no second warning. No chance to disengage. Below the surface, the crew has not felt the impact yet, but everyone understands what the silence means. The window to escape has already closed. 03500 AM. The first detonation does not arrive with sound. It arrives with pressure. Deep below the surface, a violent shock wave moves through the water. Steel bends inward. Lights flicker and die. The submarine's stern absorbs the blast as seawater forces its way inside faster than any pump can respond. Automatic systems activate instantly, but they are already chasing damage that cannot be reversed. On American displays, the picture stays calm and exact. Two tracks merge at the point already predicted minutes earlier. There is no visible reaction inside the combat center. No celebration, no relief. The process continues as designed. 11 seconds later, the second impact lands. At this depth, there is no margin left. The pressure hull fails. Compartments collapse one after another. What began with a single burst of compressed air ends in silence. In less than 4 minutes, the submarine is gone. Above the surface, the escalation changes shape. Radar operators aboard the carrier group detect new contacts approaching from the southeast. Fast, low profile, tight formation. Speed reads over 40 knots. These are not patrol boats drifting into view. These are fast attack missile craft moving with clear intent. The sea suddenly feels quiet. No explosions, no radio calls, just dark water and shrinking distance. On the destroyer's tactical display, tracks stabilize. Threat symbols multiply. The formation splits into two groups, angling wide in a classic flanking maneuver meant to stretch defenses and force hesitation. This is where timing matters most. In close combat at sea, even small delays can change outcomes. A missed sensor update, a late command, a slight turn made too early or too late. None of that happens here. American systems adjust automatically. Firing arcs update. Intercepts are recalculated in real time. Every contact already has a solution assigned before the crews on the surface realize they have been fully classified. For those racing across the waves, it still feels like an attack run. Engines pushed hard, spray breaking over the bow, the belief that speed and numbers might create a gap before defenses react. From the carrier's deck, nothing looks dramatic. The ship holds course. Flight operations remain paused, but ready. Inside the combat centers, officers do not watch the ocean. They watch countdown timers. They know escalation does not announce itself. It arrives when the other side commits and cannot turn back. That point has already been crossed. For the crews charging across the water, the plan still feels alive. Their formation spreads wide, engines screaming, bows cutting through black waves at full speed. From their perspective, the carrier group is still ahead, still distant, still something that can be pressured by numbers. The belief is simple: get closer. Force a reaction, create chaos. What they cannot see is the shift that already happened. Minutes earlier, American sensors stopped asking questions. They moved from observation to certainty. Every radar return was confirmed, every heat source matched, every track labeled and prioritized. The uncertainty phase ended before the surface boats even realized they had been seen. Inside the combat systems, this is the quiet moment before release. No alarms, no dramatic countdowns, Just a clean, tactical picture where every moving dot already has an answer attached to it. One officer watches the surface contact split wider. Another notes the exact second their targeting radars come online. That single choice changes everything. Active targeting removes doubt. It removes deniability. At that moment, this stops being a standoff. It becomes a committed attack. What the approaching crews do not know yet is that the response is no longer defensive. The geometry has shifted. The angles favor interception, not evasion. Speed, which once felt like protection, now works against them, tightening timelines instead of buying space. From the carrier, there is still no visible movement, no turn, no sudden acceleration. The ship continues on its heading as if nothing is happening. That calm is the twist, because calm means control, and control means the outcome has already been decided, even if no one outside the American systems understands it yet. The next seconds will make that clear. 04:00 a.m. The order is given without emotion. Weapons release authorized. On the destroyer, vertical launch cell doors open in sequence. There is a brief mechanical sound, then white fire cuts upward into the night. Interceptor missiles climb fast, angling low over the water before spreading out, each locking onto a separate surface contact. From the missile boats, there is almost no warning. Radar screens flash. Alerts trigger too late to matter. At this distance and speed, there is no time to maneuver, no room to hide, no chance to break contact. The first impact hits the lead boat head-on. A bright flash tears through the hull. Fuel ignites. Metal fragments scatter across the surface as the craft disintegrates in seconds. The explosion lights the surrounding water, briefly revealing the rest of the formation rushing forward into the same fate. Then the second hit lands. And the third? Each strike is clean and final. Boats vanish from radar one by one, replaced by expanding debris fields and burning patches of fuel. Some onboard weapons detonate where they sit, never leaving their launch tubes. Inside the American combat centers, the scene is controlled and silent. Tracks disappear. Threat counters drop. New firing solutions update automatically, adjusting for targets that try to turn away. Two boats attempt to reverse course. Their engines strain as they swing south, pushing for maximum speed. They do not make it far. Follow-up intercepts close the distance in seconds. Both contacts vanish almost simultaneously, leaving only smoke and fire drifting across the water. The entire surface engagement lasts less than 1 minute. No missile reaches launch range. No weapon comes close to the carrier group. Above it all, the aircraft carrier maintains course. There is no evasive turn, no emergency acceleration. The deck remains steady beneath the night sky. A short radio call confirms what the screens already show. Surface threat neutralized. For the first time since the confrontation began, the ocean goes quiet again. But this silence is different. It is not uncertainty. It is finality. By 4:30 a.m., the water settles. Burning debris drifts where fast boats once ran at full speed. Fires flicker, then fade. Radar screens clear one contact at a time until only empty sea remains. Inside the carrier group, there is no celebration. Crews return to routine with practiced calm. Damage reports are brief. Casualty reports read 0. Weapons are safed. Systems reset. The night moves on. The carrier never changed course. Flight operations resume shortly after, quiet and controlled. Aircraft launch and recover as planned, as if the confrontation never happened. From a distance, the scene looks ordinary. That is exactly the point. Strategically, the message is clear. This was not a lucky defense or a last-second reaction. Every step of the response began long before the first torpedo entered the water. Detection came first. Tracking followed. Decisions were already made before the opposing crews believed they had reached the fight. Modern naval power does not rely on surprise. It removes surprise. The submarine did not fail because it lacked courage. The surface boats did not fail because they were slow. They failed because they entered a battle space where every move was already seen, measured, and countered. For Venezuela, the cost was immediate. Equipment lost. Crews gone. Capabilities reduced in minutes. Recovery will take years. For the United States, the outcome reinforces a hard reality. An aircraft carrier is not just steel and aircraft. It is the center of a layered system that begins far beyond the horizon. This was not the end of tension. It was a demonstration. And demonstrations are meant to be remembered. Because when you test a carrier group, you are not testing one ship. You are testing an entire network, and the network does not miss twice.